There we go. And we're live.
And we're live. Welcome to Of the People. This would be called the preamble, I guess. Ericka, first of all,
Yes.
welcome. Nice
Hello,
to see you
hello.
again.
Nice to see you,
Hello.
Robert.
So, this is June. It's Pride Month, right?
Ooh,
Right.
it is the Seven Deadly Sin celebration month.
Right. But you know what else this month is?
My
This
sister's
is
birthday.
Heterosexual Awesomeness Month.
Did you just make this? You just made this up.
No,
And you just made it up.
No.
I don't.
Trust
What?
it. So, I want you to look up. So there is a bar. It's the state. Let's see. What's it called? The Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho. The owner, Mark Fitzpatrick, has launched what's called Heterosexual Awesomeness Day, Awesomeness Month, to celebrate heterosexuality. And I think it's like Hetero Male Monday. The guys get one free beer. There's hetero Couples Wednesday where they get 15% off. You got to look this up. This is great.
Oh my God! This is
and it's Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. So he basically says,
this is the bar.
Right?
This is the bar, you guys. This is their website.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, and he has launched. I love this. Come on. This is, so the Old State Saloon, discounts and free beer for couples and men, right? It seems as though people who are against Heterosexual Awesomeness Month have a hard time commenting without horrific work. Look, you just go through it. So basically, we hear lots of people are upset, but we don't really care. We love our LGBTQ patrons. We will not be changing our mind and giving into groups who are responding with vitriol, and all are welcome to celebrate heterosexuality with us for the month of June. Here you go, Mark Fitzpatrick. I'm going like, finally,
you win.
Someone's taking a page out of the other book, and look, the truth is, I don't really care if you're homosexual or you're heterosexual, but only one side's talking here, and obviously now, and they're used to. They're used to having their whole stage to themselves, and God forbid something upstages LGBTQ, right? Whatever all those other letters. And I can share with you. So I was in DC last week, and I'm not going to name the organization, but I happened to was invited by a friend to sort of a LGBTQ event, which, I'm trying to be open-minded. I went to this event, and I will tell you that while there were some people who were there who were, saying the right thing and were reasonably trying to sort of reach across the aisle to find things that we have in common. Yeah. The first award they gave for this freedom and democracy thing was to Congressman Jamie Raskin. And if you know anything about from Maryland, and then he gets up, he's the rep from Maryland, and he's not there, but he records something which has to have been the most vitriolic, divisive acceptance speech I've heard in a long time. I mean, he's a piece of crap anyway, right? But he's going after everybody, and I'm sitting there, and look, I was, I actually thought about it that I was trying to, and some nice people there, I get it, but I mean, if this is sort of the guy you're giving an award to, it's a wonder that both sides can't be talking to each other. So, which is a shame. But Ericka. Yeah. Welcome to Heterosexual Awesomeness Month.
I love it. And Robert, to go along with Heterosexual Awesomeness Month, you can employ your own preferred pronoun of super straight. Okay, so we've got the bi.
Is that a pronoun? Is that a pronoun?
Zer, yeah, super straight. Yep. Okay. That's my sexual identity. No, wait, that's my sexual identity, right? Super straight, not my pronoun. Okay. That's what it is.
I was gonna say those aren't pronouns. Okay, I know you were absent that day. What in English when they taught pronouns, but that's okay.
I mean, anybody will tell you if they read my writing that my grammar is questionable. Okay.
Yeah, I ain't got no good English either. So, but I can tell you what my pronouns are.
Yeah.
Is me, myself, and I?
Oh.
Those are my pronouns.
Well, How dare you, bigot?
Well, me, myself, and I am heterosexually awesome. How's
I
that?
love it. I love it. You are awesome. You are.
Oh, but you know what? Thank God somebody's pushing back. So Mark Fitzpatrick at the saloon in
Old
Eagle,
State
Idaho,
Saloon.
Old State Saloon. God bless you. Keep
Yep.
fighting the fight, and don't let the bastards get you down.
Amen, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's roll. Hi, I'm Robert Chernin.
And I'm Ericka Redic.
And we are Of the People. Join us on WUVR 1490 on your AM dial. That's Thursdays 9 a.m., Saturdays 3 p.m., and
WNTK 99.7 FM.
And if you can't find either of those, you can find us on Rumble.
That's right.
Listening. Really? That didn't sound like the intro. Did we miss the intro?
I mean, you could have rolled with it. I'll re-roll the intro if you want me to.
I mean, but you know how I'm a creature of habit.
Oh my God. All right, guys, hold on.
So much better, Ericka. Hello, and welcome to Of the People. So, where is the violence? By now, the entire world knows that Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 charges in New York State. No surprise there. But my real question is, where's the violence? Because violence in the name of politics has now clearly been accepted. Let's not forget the summer of brotherly love, at least the last one in 2020. In Black Lives Matter, these mostly peaceful protests, and now you're seeing these mostly peaceful, somewhat violent protests on a bunch of college campuses and in the name of Hamas and the terrorists that attacked Israel. So, and for those people, by the way, who say, well, they weren't violent, I would remind you of Lieutenant, I think his name was Dorn, David Dorn, in St. Louis, who was a retired police officer guarding a friend's shop when he was murdered during Black Lives Matter. So don't tell me that political violence or violence in the name of politics is not okay, because where's the outrage and where are the issues? But let's get back to the trial. Most people after the trial have been focusing on the jury, and let's be really clear. The jury did their job. I have nothing but respect for the jury. They followed the procedures. The issue isn't the jury, and that's what everyone seems to be focusing on. The issue is the district attorney, the issue and the contortions he went through to actually get a case or bring a case, and then the judge and how the judge ruled. And let's be really clear. There are 3 points here that are really important. The first is that this was a federal law prosecuted on the state level where they had to go through gymnastics just to change it from a misdemeanor, because if it was a misdemeanor, the statute of limitations would have run. So they had to sort of reconstitute this as a federal felony violation and still prosecute at the state level, right? Square peg, round hole. But again, this is under the Get Trump heading. So as long as we're getting Trump, it's okay. And speaking of Trump, it's not like they found a violation or found an infraction of the law and then found the perpetrator. They clearly were out to get Trump. And then they tried to find a way to get him, right? That's really what went on here in all of this, right? And the third thing in any crime is who's the victim. This is overstating falsification of business records, right? Misdemeanor slap on the wrist. Who is the victim here? Who was hurt by this? Not the banks. Trump repaid his loans, right? So the issue here is not the jury. The jury did their job, and yes, this is, a jury. I got news for you. In the 1930s, the gangster Al Capone, Scarface Al Capone, was treated better at rule of law. They got him obviously for IRS for income tax evasion, because God forbid you don't pay your taxes to feed the beast even back then. But even he was treated better. The real issue here is two things. Number one, there's no violence because conservatives by nature follow the rule of law. And the real thing we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show, there was no violent reaction, and there shouldn't have been, because there's other ways to fight back against this, most notably in 72 hours. What did they raise? $200 million. We'll talk about that as well. But this is about rule of law. And really, this is about the weaponization of the judicial system to go after a political opponent. So if this wasn't a kangaroo court, I don't know what is. So where's the violence? Not on the conservative side of the aisle. But make no mistake, there will be a price to pay for this in November. And that's the monologue. Joining me now, my lovely co-host, we can talk about this, Ericka Redic. Ericka.
Hello,
I think
Robert.
Where's the outrage? It's like, where's the violence? I sit here and just, it's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Because I listen to a lot of this, right? Even from Bill Maher on down, and I have a begrudging respect for him because he's unvarnished, like we are. It doesn't candy coat it, doesn't BS. Politically, I'm sure we're very different. But even he had guests on, and he had I forget the Colorado public official, but he kept going after the jury. Well, are you saying that the jury was fixed? No, we're not saying the jury's fixed. The jury followed the rules as laid out by the judge.
I mean, here's the thing. If everyone can pick a different crime to be guilty of, and that somehow makes it unanimous on all counts, that is set up by the judge. I've never heard of that. You have to be unanimous. It is, you don't get to pick and choose which count, and then they all are, then you get a sentence for all of them. It doesn't, I've never heard of that, ever.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You got to get into the weeds on this.
Okay.
Most people, first of all, we try not to get into the weeds because you get lost in there, right? But most people are only going to go, oh, Trump is guilty. He's a convicted felon. And by the way, that's the talking point that the Democrats want. They wanted to do two things.
Correct.
They wanted to slow down, Trump's reascendancy into the political process and handicap him as however they could. And now they're going to keep going. And the talking points are already out there. Convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon. That's all they're saying. But understand this key point. It's not just that the state prosecuted a federal law that the feds deemed not to rise to the level worthy of prosecution. It's that it would have been a misdemeanor. They had to take the federal law and bring it into New York and say, well, that violation contributed to a second violation, which makes this a felony and therefore not a misdemeanor, or they couldn't prosecute it. And by the way, in the entire trial, until the judge addressed the jury, no one said what the second crime was.
Well, and I think what's so insidious about this, and actually kind of delightful, if I may, is that if they can do this kind of legal gymnastics out in public view in front of everyone and screw over someone absolutely famous, again, in public, I think a lot of Americans are waking up and going, oh my God. Like, I also know that my brother and my uncle or somebody I know got screwed over by the government. And now this guy, I mean, they're doing it in public. Like, I think the evidence for the American people being fed up is the $52 million raised.
No, not 52. Keep going. You are way short. First of all,
in 24 hours, in the first 24 hours.
Oh, I thought 72 hours. I mean, if you add it all up, it's $200 million, right?
In 3 days.
All of it in 3 days, right? But here's the key in all of this. If you remember back, I don't know, was it a month ago, 2 months ago, they had the fundraiser to raise all fundraisers. Trump was visiting the funeral, I think, of the slain, either police officer or fireman. I think it was the police officer. Yep. And that's when they asked the governor Hochul to leave. Biden's in town, Obama's in town, and Clinton's in town. They do the mega fundraiser for the Democrats. They shatter all records. Let's put this in perspective. Yep. They raised $25 million at a single event. This dwarfs that. And, you start going through all these articles of all these people who basically said, one guy, Sean McGuire, LA-based venture capital, voted for Hillary right after donated $300,000 to the Trump campaign. And here's the quote. And there are a lot of other people who have been doing this. I won't bore our listeners with this, but he said, we were told Donald Trump would be the end of democracy. But it turns out that lawfare tactics have been escalating by the Democrats, and not the Republicans. And so it's from the backdrop that I believe Republican Party is less of a danger to democracy than the Democratic Party is right now.
That's right.
And that's what you're seeing. So, I mean, look, I still think this election is close. I still think that there's going to be some chicanery. I still think that out of the question that you see a domestic terrorist attack as a way of sort of scaring the people. But
wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, they got $70 million in just small donations. Forget about the people writing big checks. They got $70 million in 72 hours, dwarfing a mega event with Obama, Clinton, and you know, Grandpa Joe. Or FJB as I like to call him.
I mean, the only way I can see Trump losing. Well, hold on, you guys. We got a warning last week. We got our video taken down last week because I said something that was not accurate according to YouTube guidelines. I was just about to say something that might get us kicked off YouTube again.
Hey, but I don't need another strike. You know, I'm a baseball player.
Yeah, I know, right? So 2020 was the freest and fairest election of all time, except for how it wasn't. And you know, and we know now that there was that the social media companies silenced people who were pro-Trump, who were Republican, who were conservative. We know because it's now out in the open that all the social media companies were engaging with the government to censor speech around the Hunter Biden laptop and other things.
And they're going to do it again.
Exactly. And so, you know, this is why it's so important, you guys, to be courageous and talk to your neighbors. Look, you learn, first of all, learn how to not be a butthole.
Be like Mark Fitzpatrick, and in the month of June, celebrate heterosexual awesomeness.
This is what I'm saying. And be proud of it. And be proud of it. And don't be afraid to don't let these bullies who use anger and fear to manipulate you into silence. Are you a coward? You're not. So cut it out. Right? The Lord did not give you a spirit of timidity and fear, but that of a lion. So stop being a coward and go stick up for your country. That's my lecture for the day.
Thank you. Are we done on the bully?
I'm done.
The bullies? Okay.
School marming. I'm done school marming.
Okay. So okay. So I'm like getting all this. Okay, there you go. better. You know, I love that. You know, you're assuming I read that stuff. But in any event, the other thing I like, so the radio DJ or radio talk show host, Hugh Hewitt, finally did something no one else has done. Okay. He comes out with a list of a recap of everything they've thrown at the bad orange man, right? Because get Trump. And there are like 50 things. I want to just go through all these, if you don't mind indulging me for a second.
Oh, I'm ready.
This is how much incoming fire, and it's finally cataloged. No one has done this. And by the way, I don't know if I'm going to get through it all, but it's 3 freaking pages.
Okay.
So we start with.
So wait, what is this again? This is all the things that they've accused Trump of.
This is everything they've thrown at him in the kitchen sink.
Okay.
From 2015 forward. I mean, you want to know what a threat this man is to the Democratic power and the Democratic sort of, you know, money game of all of this and the whole wokeism crap. So bear with me, folks. Hillary's private server, rules it violated in the threat to national security posed, and no prosecution for it. Hillary's lawyer's deletion of half of her emails, and no prosecution for that. Hillary's use of bleach bit and hammers, and again, no prosecution. Former FBI Director James Comey, nothing to see here. Let's not forget the Steele dossier, the Perkins, Coie, and Mark law firm who created the dossier, the leak of the Steele dossier, the meeting, or he calls it the ambush, when Trump meets with CIA Director Brennan, FBI Director Comey, and DNI Director Clapper at Trump Tower in January 2017 to discuss what was going on and somehow was leaked to the press. The recusal of Jeff Sessions, the appointment of Rod Rosenstein, you've got Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, and the corruption at the FBI. The Mueller report that after several years found after 22 months found nothing.
Nah.
The refusal by the Trump team to send then Attorney General William Barr a version of the report unredacted. The smear of Barr afterwards. The leak of the Trump phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky. The manufacturing of impeachment one. Let's not forget Mr. Pencil Neck, Adam Schiff, now running for Senate and all the truth that
Wait,
came
did
out
you
of
talk
there.
about the P tape? The P tape?
No, I didn't get the P tape yet. The change in voting rules because of that disease that shall be
nameless. The virus of unknown origins.
Yeah. Zuckerbucks and Zuckerboxes, the Commission of Presidential Debates, and its unilateral decision to cancel one. Let's not forget the Hunter Biden laptop that was suppressed. And then the letter from 51 former senior intelligence officers concluding that Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation.
Those people should be prosecuted. How are those people not prosecuted?
Right.
That was a lie. That was a straight up, that was a fabrication.
I know. The second impeachment after January 6th. By the way, folks, I'm not even done with page 1.
Oh my God.
Right? The setup by the FBI.
That's like the first year of his presidency.
The FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. I mean, Jack Smith appointed. I mean, he finally, and then obviously we end all of this, and I'm not going to read the rest of it, but look up the article by Hugh Hewitt. It's called, what's it called? 50 Reasons Why 70 million plus in small donations poured in after Trump verdict. That's the article, right? And he lists them all. And, it's one thing when Ericka, you see these and you remember this, but to see them all on 2.5 to 3 sheets of paper, you go, oh my God, how is this guy still standing?
And I don't think it would be like, name another person in the United States that could withstand all of this. And still, Robert, they have been okay, imagine this. They have combed through this man's entire history. Right. And the only things they've been able to find to prosecute him on aren't actual crimes. Or they have to entrap him and make something up. I probably commit a crime every day, for God's sake. I definitely don't do the speed limit, but
and I definitely don't do the speed limit. But look, I think the important thing here to understand is that there wasn't a crime that was discovered, and then they said who perpetrated the crime. They said we need to get Donald Trump because he's a threat to democracy. So we're going to trash democracy, not follow rule of law, to get this man because he's bad. And look. Let's be really clear. So Nigel Farage, right, who headed up Brexit, is now running to be in Parliament, right? But Brexit is fundamentally a populist uprising. Bolsonaro in Brazil at the time was a populist uprising.
Yeah.
Milei in Argentina is a populist uprising. Trump and what he personified was a populist uprising. The elite leaders, mostly Democrats, some Republicans, but mostly Democrats, are scared to death of the people. That's really the issue, right? So Trump is an existential threat to their grip on power because their view is that they know, everything from trust to science on down. And we're going to talk about our friend Mr. Fauci later, right?
We might have to dump YouTube for that segment.
I think we're gonna have to dump YouTube for that segment. So because I don't need no more strikes.
No.
But Donald Trump is a existential threat.
Yeah.
To them, and therefore he has to be destroyed. I don't understand. And again, I only went through one page. There's another 2.5 pages of all the things that were thrown at him that, God bless Hugh Hewitt. Someone finally cataloged them. I mean, it's incredulous to me.
Yeah.
So, but I was talking to a friend. I was in DC last week on some meetings. Israel Appreciation Day, www.israelappreciationday.com.
Yeah.
Go check it out. And there's always wiggle room in elections, meaning there's always a stress load factor. Normally the conventional wisdom is as long as you win outside a 3% margin, the results generally are valid. 2020 threw that out, all that out the window. Yeah. But a friend of mine who is very wired into this says that Donald Trump has to win by more than 7% in November to win this election. That's a
Okay.
hell of a bar.
That is a hell of a bar. Speaking of a hell of a bar, we've got the Israel Appreciation Day coming up that you mentioned. So let's go check out a advertisement for that.
Why Israel Appreciation Day? Because no one is telling the Israel story about why Israel's existence is so important, not just as a Jewish state and not just as an ally of the United States, but for all the positive achievements Israel has contributed to the world in science, technology, medicine, human rights, religious freedoms, rule of law, democracy, and so on. We need to start winning the public relations information war and change the narrative, especially among our younger generations. We need to get the information out there and arm those people who understand the seminal importance of Israel to the world. And being the Jewish homeland doesn't begin to tell that story of why Israel is so important. It's something we all can come together on, and honestly, it's something we all must come together on. It is imperative the general public understands the nature of the very special relationship between Israel and the United States and Israel's importance to the world. So please join us on July 10th in Washington, D.C. as we celebrate Israel Appreciation Day. For those who can't be there in person, we'll be streaming live on the web at israelappreciationday.com. Never again is now.
I am really looking forward to that, Robert.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
So, it's so important that I know everyone's focused on the military aspect of what's going on over there, the diplomatic aspect, certainly the war. But there's so many positives, and Israel truly is a miracle. And everything they've been able to succeed at and accomplish and give to the world, that's the stuff people need to understand. It's not just about fighting for their existence or their right of self-defense or destroying Hamas, which clearly needs to happen. It's about the miracle of Israel and all those things. And that's what Israel Appreciation Day is going to be. And it's going to be a TV event streamed live on all the streaming channels. So it's not even about who's in the room. It's about the millions that we're going to reach. So it's important.
That's right.
So
yeah.
Speaking of important, are we going off of YouTube for this section? What did we decide? Since we're going to talk about
Fauci section.
This is the Fauci section because
all right.
So Dr. Fauci or Mr. Fauci.
Okay, well, hold on. Anybody who's watching on YouTube, because of the way the YouTube guidelines are, a lot of times it doesn't matter if we tell you the truth. They will give us a warning and a strike, and we have gotten 2 strikes right now. So if you are watching on YouTube, go on over to one of the free speech platforms of Rumble or Twitter, and you will get the next segment. Okay, now
because we're going off of YouTube. Are we off of YouTube?
Yes. Bye, suckers.
Okay.